Black Ops 3 Zombies. When people think of this game, they think of maps like Shadows, Der Eisendrache, or maybe even Gorod Krovi. And all three of those maps are amazing in their own way, but when people think of Zetsubou, they think of it being inferior, but I don't think that way at all. To me, I see this map as a beauty in disguise, and I'm gonna unmask this map. Now before we talk about this map and the route that started the hate for it, we need to talk about the build-up. Our last Zombies map we got was Der Eisendrache, which had one of the best launches to a Zombies map we have ever gotten, and today some would say it's the greatest map we have ever received. So this next map had a very high bar to raise and expectations were at a max. And the marketing for the map was very good as we had a really good trailer and a really good intro cutscene for the map. But a dark future would be on the rise. April 19th, 2016. The day Zetsubou released as it came along with DLC 2 and BO3 called Eclipse. Fans were excited as the past maps have been stellar, but this map would not launch like the rest. This map would end up suffering the consequences of having a bad launch, as this map is without a doubt the glitchiest map to ever launch, so much that the map would just be unplayable sometimes. And it would be a major turnoff for a player to tune in and get invested in. I mean, honestly, this map just felt like a beta, and this is a big reason why a lot of fans say this is one of the worst maps. And some would even go as far as saying this map at the time was on the same levels of Transit. Now let's fast forward 8 years later, this map is actually playable now. But is it as bad as people say it was? Well, I don't think so, and here is why. Zetsubou to me is up there as one of the most beautiful maps out there. I just love the swampy jungle vibe, as you can see the trees hang over above, and the greenery is just amazing. The vibe of a map is everything, and this map does a good job of putting you in that vibe. But this map, on the other hand, could also turn that vibe off for some players, as this map can be difficult. This map has a ton of doors, and getting power can be challenging as you basically have to turn it on 3 times. And doing this with no gobblegums can be a tall task, just for power. Now getting Pack-a-Punch is quite literally easier than getting power, which is kind of strange. All you have to do is do a lockdown underwater, cut some bodies until you get lucky, and go to an underwater cave to grab another valve, and then you drain the water and then you got Pack-a-Punch. It is not that hard at all, as you're basically exploring the map and picking up pieces along the way. Now once you got Pack-a-Punch, there is still quite a lot of stuff to do on this map, like a farming simulator. Yes, you heard me. Get ready to plant some seeds, as in this map there is a brand new plant system. And well, I actually like it. You can make some pretty cool things by mixing and matching the different types of water, by making power up, weapons, and other cool things, like one where you can save your loadout, and if you die you can basically come back and basically serves as a second chance. Now I would say this system is like the pod system on Shadows of Evil, but more complex, and you need to use this plant systems if you're doing the Easter egg. Now another thing to do on this map is to get the specialist weapon called the Skull of Non-Sapwa. And getting it can be pretty difficult, as you have to take 4 skulls to different podiums corresponding with the symbol on the skull, and then you have to protect it. And a little nitpick is that you can only hold 1 skull at a time, so there is a lot of back and forth, which is a pretty big downside. But the reward is well worth it, as you get probably one of the best specialists in the game, as you have 2 abilities along with it. One being Vaporize, where you lift the zombies and they explode, and the other being Mesmerize, which isn't really that good but is important for the Easter egg. And also, this skull is really good against Thrashers, which is a boss zombie we'll talk about in a little bit. Now another quest to go for is the KT-4, the wonder weapon of the map. This quest is pretty simple, as all you have to do is get spider semen, kill a zombie by the lab, and go to the bottom of the underwater cave, and you got yourself the KT-4. And the wonder weapon is alright, as it's like the Sliquifier, but you don't slide around on it. But what I love about the wonder weapon is the way it interacts around with the map. For example, you can go up to spores around the map, which usually pop when you get near them, and they kind of stun you unless you have a gas mask. But if you shoot these spores with the wonder weapon, you basically get a speed boost. Another thing it could do is it could shoot down the spider webs from the mini boss, the spiders, which makes it less of a headache, and you can shoot down these mini webs that have secret power-ups behind them, and can even open up to a secret spider boss fight. This boss fight is one of the coolest things about this map, as it is just very unique, and the reward of doing it is well worth it, as you get the Widow's Wine perk and you get one of the parts for the upgraded KT4. And to get the upgraded KT4, all you have to do is complete all 3 challenges, which some of the challenges can be a little tedious, but once you do that, you need to wait for the lightning strike and have your shield out and go to one of the cages and basically go down and get the part. And then once you do that, you have to go to the underwater cave and basically make a special plant with the rainbow water, and you basically have the Masamune, the upgraded KT4. And you have to get the Masamune if you want to do the Easter egg. Now let's talk about the Easter egg of the map. A lot of people either hate it or love it. Me personally, it's one of my favorites of all time, as a lot of the steps are fun steps, as you just have to do 3 challenges and pick up 3 cogs, and that's basically the entire Easter egg. But some steps people have problems with. One of the cogs you have to get, you need to use a gobblegum anywhere but here, and people don't like it because the game is forcing you to equip that gobblegum. I don't mind this step because at the time gobblegums were new and they wanted to try to integrate it with the Easter egg, and well, it didn't really land the mark. I really do wish there was another way to get up there to get the cog, like maybe using the spider bait Easter egg would have been perfect in my opinion. But once you get all the cogs, you go down and you enter the boss fight. As much as I love this map, this boss fight is definitely one of the worst, as it basically is just running around in circles and waiting for the spores to open, and you shoot it with the wonder weapon. And you do that 3 more times and you beat the boss. I am not a fan of this at all, as a boss shouldn't be time gated, and it should be all about how much damage you can put into them. The real boss in this boss fight is trying not to get fucked by the thrashers, but once you get through the boss, you get to experience one of the best ending cutscenes to a zombies map. This cutscene alone made Takeo an actual interesting character, as you get to hear about his past with the Emperor and it being all a lie. His whole life basically being a lie. You can see the emotion in this cutscene, and Takeo ends up sacrificing his soul for the universe. This is up there as one of my favorite cutscenes of all time. Now let's talk about the difficulty of the map. This map is without a doubt the hardest map in Black Ops 3, as it feels the map forces you to use the OP Mega Gobblegums, because if you don't, you will struggle. But the amount of doors on this map is pretty ridiculous, as there are a total of 17 doors on this map. The average door on BO3 is around like 9 to 10, but Zetsubou has 17. So it just kind of feels like the map is forcing you to use a shopping free gobblegum. On top of that, we have the boss zombies, first being the spiders, the mini boss of the map. The spiders are not really hard to kill. If anything, I love this mini boss, as they fit the map perfectly and even can interact with it. These spiders can block pathways around the map with their webs, and they're not really hard to take down. You can either cut them with your knife or throw a grenade or even shoot it with your KT4. Now let's talk about the real challenge of the map, the thrashers. This boss zombie basically can spawn if a zombie is near a spore, and when there is only one thrasher, it can be fine. But when there are multiple, it can be a real headache, as they can sometimes one-hit you if you're unlucky. Now the best way to kill this boss zombie is either with the specialist weapon or the Masamune, or I guess KT4. But if you don't have either of those, get ready to learn Chinese, buddy, because you are about to get cooked. Or I guess in this case, Japanese.
I'm sorry, I don't speak Japanese.
Now I just explained everything about this map the best I could. So what makes this map good? Now going back to the vibe aspect, I love the environment of this map. The sounds and the music is amazing, from the round sound, and the ambience is just perfect. The map layout is great, as it is pretty similar to Doris. I feel this map gets overshadowed and doesn't get the love it deserves. You can see how much care is put into the map and was just ruined because of a bad launch it had. And I love the challenge this map brings, as it feels like a breath of fresh air surprisingly, because the rest of the BO3 maps, like Der Eisendrache, Shadows, and Revelations, those maps are all really easy to play. But with Zetsubou, you need to actually focus and play the map and not turn off your brain. And me personally, I love maps that give me something to do, like Origins, Der Eisendrache, or even Shadows. I love the challenging aspect of zombies. I have this map in my top 5, and I love everything about this beauty in disguise called Zetsubou no Shima.